Welcome back, everyone. Today we're reading some Transjack's Tumblr posts because, Transjack's is really popular right now, okay? Look, I haven't recovered from the ending and I want to do this, so just let me have my fun, please. Regular Funny Bunny shippers, I'm sad that our ship can't be canon. Creative Funny Bunny shippers, so Pomni is a monster fricker now. Hey, if King can grant Subel's wish, then who knows what else is possible. I'm just saying. You're complaining? Funny Bunny was updated to toxic/tragic/doomed Yuri status, and you're complaining? What more could you possibly want? Yeah, Jax literally dies, but I can live in denial. It is my right. Kneel and be grateful for the blessing that you have. Actually, this works for all Jax ships. Day 1. Day 5. Wow, you're doing great so far. Trying to concentrate here, Rags. We can talk later. No worries, I'll leave you to it. Now we're talking. Sup? I don't need to explain myself. Yeah, she would. Brokies. Still sleeping, huh? How long has it been? About 2 weeks. He's never been asleep for so long. I'm kinda worried. I'm sorry, Pomni. What if we all pitched in for a while? Yeah, I'd like that. By the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and you get loose in your joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. Bug noises, bug noises, bug noises, bug noises. Ding! Oh, oops, sorry. Decorating, give you a bow. 1 week later. I'm gonna go visit Jax for a while, but we should do that again sometime. Oh, did you want company? That's okay. I'll see you at dinner. Sure, see you later. Maybe I'll try playing that new song today. Is that? Jax! Good morning. Did you sleep well? You look different. I like your ears. Short comic where Jax takes a nap. I could joke about people missing the subtext in previous episodes, but I appreciate the fans who went from not believing in trans femme Jax to immediately incorporating it in their fan arts, use whatever. No arguments, no BS, just, I guess we're doing T-Girl Jax now. So, about this conjuring thing, since you've conjured me clothes and stuff, could you, maybe conjure me, hair? Oh, I mean, I guess I could try. What kind of haircut would you like? I don't know. I didn't exactly think that far ahead. Okay, how about... Oh. Oh, man, wow. Frick, bro, thank God you have hair now. Hehehe. Pomni cures her girlfriend's baldness. Thank frickin' God. Isn't she lovely? So, hey, what do you think? Jax? I'm bald. Gosh, I look so dumb. I'll let Kane know your feedback. There you go, Jax. A head full of locks for you and your lovely self. Alas, I can't alter your avatars anymore, so all I could do is this wig. I'm really sorry I can't do more for you. Well, I can't say it's the stupidest thing you've made. Really? What if? Jax is good trans rep, just not the kind people are used to. I think when a lot of people think of positive queer representation, they want to see a character happy or grow into their identity, which is extremely valid. We all want to see people like us get a good ending. But a character having a bad ending within the universe, not necessarily a writing point of view, can still be good representation, even if it's not a happy one. Jax is a cautionary tale. She's what happens when you don't accept yourself, the most extreme example of self-hatred and dysphoria, and how those internalized feelings can then affect your treatment of others. Goose, the creator and a trans woman herself, even said that Jax is heavily inspired by the worst parts of her. Jax being trans doesn't excuse his actions, but the show never tried to say that anyway. Gengo is conflicted and feeling she should mourn him, and yet is still allowed to hate him. She's not expected to forgive him just because he abstracted. Nor is Zubul, who is perhaps more understanding of what Jax went through as someone who is trans themselves, and is shown to clock her discomfort with gender expression. They are still angry. He is not forgiven. Pomni and Regatha are the most forgiving because they are the closest thing Jax had to friends at one point or another. And even they are not attempting to excuse her behavior. Not even Pomni, with what she learns, she is more upset that she couldn't get through to her and help, but doesn't try to argue when Jax says he is a bad person. With Leroy still being alive and out there, we see that things do get better and that he can improve with the right mindset and friends. Leroy continued to live, given the chance to accept who she is. Jax, however, stayed stagnant. He trapped himself in the mindset that nothing matters and there's no point in trying. He never got to learn what happened to his mom. If things got better, if the people he knew back then would accept who she really is. Everything remained internalized, and when Ribbit tried to open those wounds, he doubled down, shoving everything soft and weak back into the back of his mind, and tried to put on an aloof new personality. And whilst the Jax we met is cruel, it's clear that switch wasn't overnight. He didn't become mean just 'cause, but he kept putting up more and more walls. And when Ribbit died, he did as much as possible to push everyone else away. This sort of self-hating turned projection isn't uncommon in closeted trans people. You feel othered and indifferent. You have to convince everyone around you can fit in, that everyone else is the problem. Jackson Particular is a good example of toxic masculinity and internalized misogyny. We see in the way he speaks about his parents that he was once a much more soft and open person, but the pressure to be more of a man than his dad and to not be weak affected his mindset and the expectations he placed on himself, especially given his mom's reaction to him coming out, seeing being feminine as weakness and failing. It does not excuse his behavior, but it does show why he may act this way. And in the end, he does admit it did nothing good. He was so scared what would happen, he retreated into the idea of the digital world as a safety blanket. Nothing was real, no one he hurt was real, his feelings weren't real. In a very, it's not that deep sort of deflection. Jack shows what happens when you don't allow yourself to grow, when instead you retreat into yourself in the way it makes you bitter. Self-hatred corrupts, it makes you cruel. Whereas Leroy is what happens when you get that chance. Jax was too late and it destroyed him. I'm sorry if this made less sense further on. I have heat stroke and am still barely surviving the heat wave right now. Anyway, so I'm a little frazzled. Transfemme author writing a repressed transfemme character heavily based on the negative parts of herself. Yeah, so her fear of her own inner thoughts and feelings caused her to permanently repress being trans, and also turn her into a dark jerkhole, leading to her pushing away all her friends, ultimately leading to 3 deaths, including her own. The negative characteristics that made her unable to transition are the same ones that made her a bad person. If she wasn't a bad person, she could have transitioned. Transitioning would have required becoming a better person. For this character, being a bad person and transitioning are dynamically opposed. A lot of people on this website, I don't know, a transfemme character is a bad person seems a little problematic. Are you implying being transfemme makes you a jerkwad? Bad rep alert. I feel like a lot of people forget that when it comes to demonstrating often repressed groups, making a character be not the best person does not make them a worse representation of said group. Yeah, Jax is an abuser. Clearly, she is a cautionary tale on what not to do with your life. Do not repress yourself. Do not push people away. Why do people think of her actions are like being endorsed or something? Also, her being trans is not out of nowhere. There were tons of hints before episode 9. Oh, the bunny's trans! The purple thing in the show y'all like. I'm sobbing. The purple thing. Although there's basically 2 versions of trans femme Jax, literally the same jerkwad but a hot girl and the happiest girl you ever met. I see so many trans femme Jax fan art with long hair. It's funny because it implies that before transitioning she was just bald. You can't keep humanizing Kane if you're going to dehumanize a mentally ill trans femme character, by the way. Speaking my truth. Kind of funny how once Jax revealed as a trans woman, the vast majority of the fandom immediately changes how they view her and what pronouns they use for her. Yet the character has been out as on the trans spectrum since the first episode, who uses they them in the show and any /all in general is misgendered and counted as a woman, and only having she her used for them even by those same people. Very interesting. Well, that's that then. Jax, if she wasn't a huge piece of garbage. I'm so glad I didn't make that moment in Ribbit's room weird and push them to taking themselves out. I'm also glad Pomni's fit so well in the friend group. She and Ribbit seem like they were destined to frick each other's brains out. The good ending. I admit, as a cis guy, I was struggling about how to approach Jax's pronouns. I've heard mixed things about using a trans person's correct pronouns if they aren't out yet, and Jax never got the chance to open up about that. But if Goose refers to Jax as she, that works for me. I personally think either is fine, but that's just me. It was meant to be kind of subtle and vague, but I'm really bad at making things subtle. Goose on Jax's pronouns. I'm gonna side-eye you though if you use it as a reason to say Jax is still cis. It's Pride Month, Jax. You know what that means. What? Do you want, like, the finale to be gay or something? What? So that happened. It is kind of funny that the finale aired in Pride Month and heavily focused on a trans femme. That probably was actually just coincidence, but I like to think it wasn't, because it's funny. It's only Twitter canon. There was barely any evidence in the show. Motherfucker, the symbolism couldn't have been more heavy-handed if it was a punch to the head. Every time I see people complain that Jax the Amazing Digital Circus being a closeted trans femme and getting annoyed with it because it was rushed will always remind me that when I started coming out to people who knew me my whole life and kept going on about how there weren't any signs I was a girl. Like, there were signs, you just didn't know where to see them. All this conversation about Jax being bad rep is truly exhausting. Not every queer character is created with the sole purpose and intention of being representation. Sometimes it's just what they are. We should just let a character be that character plus be queer. Not every character's identity needs to be integral central focus to the story or push the plot along, or even when it does, it doesn't make it bad rep just because they're a bad person. It would be incredibly unrealistic to have every queer character ever be nice and squeaky clean and have zero flaws whatsoever. Queer people can be evil, selfish jerkwads. Those things are not mutually exclusive. Let LGBTQ characters be pieces of garbage, dang it. Okay, Jax is canonically emo in the real world. She knows 2 songs on the piano, and Welcome to the Black Parade is one of them. I don't think people realize how impressive Jax is written as a trans woman character in the context of an animation medium. Most trans characters in animation are usually side characters and don't have much screen time to be explored. Note that this doesn't mean these characters aren't bad representation on themselves, because but, as I said, they are most of the time secondary characters, which often comes due to restriction. Then there's Jax, who not only is one of the main protagonists of the show, she also had a good chunk of screen time to be explored. She is allowed to be really flawed and the real mess. and she keeps failing and failing over and over again. She is written by an actual trans one based on her own experiences, which, like, rare to see in animation. The other two trans characters I can think of that had this same level of development are Barney from Dead-Eyed Paranormal Park and Rachel from Rocko's Modern Life. Again, with that context, it is an impressive achievement. Jax's past and identity do not excuse her actions. She was a jerk, but the point of her character is to not suppress your identity, as it will warp you into a much worse person. So while she was a garbage and complex character, her actions cannot be simply weighed away by citing the past, as other characters were hurt by her actions. This is true in real life too. Trust me, I've seen it. Live your truth and care for others, y'all. Note, I might be a slight hypocrite saying this, but oh well. Hey, all I ask is that you get to know me on a deep, intimate level, while I resist and abstract your every attempt to do so. Oh, Kane, would you like to come fishing with me? Let's go, my compatible comrade. 5 minutes later. Slow activity today. Kinger, I'm bored. How about I make this easy and speed this along? Well, thank you for offering, but it's alright. You know what they say, slow and steady wins the race. I thought we were fishing. Exactly. Oh, come here. You just have to take breath and take your time. Take my lucky fishing rod. Now remember what I said, take a deep breath and... Oh my god, you got one! Reel that whopper in, Kane, attaboy! Oh. Man, I was doing my taxes. You did it, Kane. I did? I'm so proud of you. Me? I'm so proud, 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 I'm so proud. Kane? Kane, speak to me. I'm super obsessed with the fact they went on fishing together in the credits. Wow, Gangle, this is really impressive. Your drawing is not only creative, but decisive and unique. I can see the effort you put into the details, and honestly, that's meaningful. Why did you say it like that? I had a nightmare where I can't talk like ChatGPT. It was so terrifying that I woke up crying and panicking and started stabbing random people on the street. I also like Angle. She's cute. So this shark is trans culture? Yep. And you conjured it for me? Consider it a gift. Later that night. Trans culture. Both my favorite things. Sharks and trans femme Jax. Just gonna real quick throw this lovely comment up that Dead-Eyed Faye noticed me on a different trans femme Jax one, so, you know, be jealous. Goose confirmed some more stuff related to IRL names if you haven't seen it yet. I foolishly assumed more people would know what a boy motor was when writing the brief on Leroy's wardrobe. Wow, I feel silly for completely mixing the context. It was barely in subtext. There was almost no subtlety. What's the name she would have wanted, though, I wonder? Probably just goes by Lee for the time being. Does Ribbit have a real name? Leah. Does Kaufman have a real name? Doug. I'm so glad you trust me. I'm on the bed of the girl of my dreams. She just took off all her clothes. She accepts me and my mistakes, and she gave me a cute bow. Perfect time to screw everything up forever. Why is she like this? Hey gang, I drew art of Drax in a cute outfit. Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely? Oh my gosh, isn't she so lovely? She's so lovely, lovely, lovely. I think it's beautiful that we all call her lovely now. Lovely no longer sounds like a word, and I don't care because she's so very lovely. Reality is gay. You are gay. Dumb joke, sorry. Grabbing people by the scruff of their necks and shaking them. You know Jax is a terrible person was the point, right? That she pushed everyone away despite having all the opportunity to get better? It's meant to be tragic. That even after all that, she realized she wanted to change. As her last words and thoughts, she didn't want to go. It's okay, I understand. It's baby's first nuance. Congratulations to Jax, the amazing digital circus, for being the first Tumblr sexy man to transition to a Tumblr sexy woman. There's people out here more in denial of Jax being trans femme than Jax herself was. Like, come on. Gooseworks getting people to care about and make art of a trans femme character for once by disguising her as a Tumblr sex man was genuinely a play on par with the Trojan horse. And we'll cut it there. Hope you all enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that cool YouTube stuff. And like always, I wish you all an absolutely fantastic week.